white people are rich, they're just rich forever and ever. Even their kids are rich.
Yeah.
But when a black guy gets rich, it's countdown to when he's poor again.
He's the blackest white guy I fucking know. And in all the negative things we think about black people, this fucker...
You're saying I'm a nigger.
Yes, you are the niggerest fucking white man I have ever...
Amazing. I don't think he could do that.
What?
I don't think he has those
There's only
qualities.
two.
I mean, no, you don't even understand.
Really?
You don't really know him like I've worked with him.
No, like your bit about...
I wouldn't use it anywhere.
No, exactly. These two.
We
use
say
that
nigger on stage.
On stage.
You guys don't. That's an
That's
interesting
the
two teams
That's the
here.
difference between.
That's right. That's right. We say nigger on stage, you guys don't.
But that's definitely a pairing. Who says nigger on stage? We don't.
Well, you just did.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
You and me say nigger in private.
No.
These two guys don't. I don't believe he says it in private.
I've given it up just because it's played.
I don't believe it's. I don't think you've ever said it probably in your life.
No, never.
No. Yeah, that's it. That's the huge difference between you and me, I think.
Well, you
said
found the humor of it.
Yeah.
I haven't found it.
Right.
Nor do I seek it.
I mean,
So-
Oh my God, find a way.
Can I squeeze?
You know what
comedy
though,
out
Jerry?
of it?
All of a sudden having a great nigger bit would be pretty amazing.
Yeah,
It would be amazing.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
because he retired it.
Yeah.
He retired it.
No, he
in
did.
'96.
Yeah.
I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Anytime you come even close to cursing, people, ooh, shit.
Okay, so y'all just heard that clip right there, and I have to give a shout out to Thought Crimes because I was not going to talk about this because it was one of those stories that kind of just like flew past me because there's so many other things that I was, working on. But I said, you know what? Let me look into this some more. And then I came across this audio clip that you just heard. Now, this was from 2011 that involved Chris Rock, Louis C.K., Ricky Gervais, and Jerry Seinfeld. I'm sure y'all can identify who was who in this picture because many of y'all all should know who these guys are. And it has drawn a lot of backlash and a lot of criticism, and rightfully so. This was from 2011, and it has reemerged. Now, this is what really gets me about this whole thing. I remember Chris Rock did a stand-up back in the 90s where he came up with his infamous joke when he was saying there's a difference between black people and niggas. And people been running with that shit ever since. You had white people ran with it, you had black people run with it, and you probably had everywhere else in between run with that shit too, even to this day. It's one thing, with you being a comedian, we know you're going to say some raunchy shit every now and then and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is, Chris Rock sat here with these three other white guys. He didn't sit here with three other black guys. He sat here with three other white guys. Let's put to the side that they are quote unquote comedians. You actually gave Louis C.K. and Ricky Gervais, because he said it too. I didn't hear Jerry say it. But those two a pass to say that word. And they didn't say nigga. They said nigger with the ER. Not that I'm accepting of them saying either one. What really strikes me, though, and I was going to save this point for the end, but I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and say it now. It is very puzzling to me how you have some black people who will say, we should not say the N-word to each other, and if we stop, white people won't say it. So I'm guessing now it's okay that a black comedian can say the N-word to his white comedian friends, and that's okay. Is that what we're reaching for here? Because now it's like it contradicts everything you said when you say, oh, if a black person don't say it, a white person isn't going to say it. Dumbass, who do you think came up with the fucking word? They're always going to say it, whether they are in public or in private. Most likely they're going to do it in private. Especially if they don't want that backlash from a black person that's not going to take that shit. And see, the thing is, they would want someone like Chris Rock around, someone that's not going to push back against them. At this point now, Chris Rock cannot complain if someone called him that word, just based on this clip right here. Because you let that word just fly around and say, oh, it was just jokes and just jokes. So basically, at one point, when that word was first created, it was derogatory. and everything like that. Then black people took it and took the ER off and added an A and called it nigga, and then said, oh, it's now a term of endearment. We took the word and took the word back, and, you know, the power back from the word. Now it seems like there's another evolution with it. So now black people and apparently white people can say the word amongst each other, and it's just a joke. It's just jokes. As long as we're saying it as just jokes. And the thing is, it don't even have to come off as a joke. All you have to do is paraphrase it with, it's a joke after the word is said and everything is okay. That's just like with these racist ass cops saying, I fear for my life. So they can justify why they killing black people. But it's the fact of the matter is that Chris Rock said this in mixed company. Now, we know what happened when Bill Cosby did that pound cake speech. A lot of black people got upset about that. And he did that in mixed company. That's the only thing I can criticize him on, is he should not have told that pound cake speech to mixed company when it wasn't about them. It was about black people, well, certain black people. That's my only criticism of him. Are they going to come down on Chris Rock for saying and allowing this word to just fly all over the place in mixed company? That's what I'd like to know. Or are they just going to let it slide and say, oh, it was just jokes? I know I'm not reaching with this. Like, I really know that I'm not reaching with this. And anybody gonna have someone say, oh, why did they dig this up from all them years ago? They must want to get something on Chris Rock. Not necessarily. I don't know what projects Chris Rock has coming up. I haven't seen Chris Rock do anything since he hosted the Oscars last year. So I don't know what they're trying to get him on or whatever. But the steam is going to come heavily more so onto Chris Rock than anyone else, because he allowed it to happen. He didn't check them. He allowed it to fly and even joked back with them. So like I said, what have we learned here today? That now the N-word coming out of the mouth of a white person can be used instead as a joke. Because what they'll do is they'll look at something like this and say, oh, a black guy was okay with the N-word being flown around. He even threw it right back at us, and all we did was laugh. And now if they say it to us, what they're going to say is, I was just joking, because Chris Rock meant it as a joke. Louis C.K. meant it as a joke. Ricky Gervais meant it as a joke. Hell, we'll throw Jerry Seinfeld up in there because he ain't say shit. He ain't do shit but laugh right along with him. He just didn't say the word. But this shit right here pisses me the fuck off. Because like I said, it negates the whole thing. Well, if black people don't say it to each other, then, you know, we don't have a right to be mad when white people call it to us. But you just, like I said, you just had a black comedian say it as amongst them as a joke and did not mind and just laughed right along with them. And then people are going to say, I can only imagine now, people are going to say, oh, well, Chris Rock is a comedian, you shouldn't take it so seriously. Well, there's truth in jokes. There's truth in comedy, especially that dark comedy. It's the fact that, like I said, if anyone calls Chris Rock the N-word, a white person calls him that, he cannot get mad. And I'm talking about not in a quote-unquote joking way. I'm talking about in a derogatory way, in a threatening way. He can't afford to get upset after this has come to the surface. This is my first time ever seeing this video on this clip. Ever. I didn't even know it existed until now. No, I don't think any of my subs have sent this to me. Like I said, I found out about this through Thought Crimes. And that's what made me want to make this video. And that's how I stumbled across that clip that you just heard. But Chris Rock, like, I hope you you better do some serious damage control, because people are going to, and I'm sure they already have come for your neck already. Because now, like I said, it's going to be white people out there looking at this and they're going to say, oh, well, Chris Rock allowed it, so they can't get upset. Because Chris Rock said, listen, Chris Rock does not speak for me. He does not speak for the black community as a whole. Chris Rock can only speak for his damn self. And right now, he ain't saying shit. So y'all can get the fuck out of here with that. Because y'all always like to say what black people speak for us. And y'all usually pick some of the worst black people to say that they need to speak for us. They don't speak for me. That's for goddamn sure. I speak for me. But that's really all I have to say about this. As you can see, as you can tell by the tone of this video, who I was more mad at. Louis C.K., the last time we heard about him, wasn't Me Too going after his ass? Whatever happened with that? Ricky Gervais, that crusty ass English muffin ain't even hardly funny. Jerry Seinfeld, he's had his time. Go enjoy your wealth. And as for Chris Rock, I don't know really much more to say about you. I already grilled your ass pretty much in this entire video. Like, this shit, like, really legit made me mad because he said this in mixed company and did not check not one of them because it was Louis C.K. who said the word first. And then Chris Rock came back and doubled down on it in a quote-unquote joking way. I don't know what it is. These are when I listen to Harvey's videos, now I can see why he says what he says when he said it's a certain element in our community. Chris Rock is definitely one of those certain elements. Like, this shit should make almost any black person upset. But what's so sad is that you actually do have some black people out there that are like Chris Rock and will jokingly use the N-word around their white friends and allow their white friends to say this and that. And one thing they will not do is they will not tell their white friends to not say it around other black people because they got too comfortable. And what will happen is that if they say it around the wrong black person, that black person will fuck them up and then they'll be wondering why. See, the thing is, a lot of black people have allowed them to get so comfortable with this shit to the point where it's starting to feel normal. Not to me. That shit will never, ever be normal in my eyes. But Chris Rock, you know you fucked up with this one. You know you royally fucked up with this one. Like I said, I didn't even know this video existed until now. And if no one told me that this was from 2011, you would have thought this shit happened last week. So good that he's facing the backlash that he is receiving. And I don't give a damn if he is a comedian or not. The fact of the matter is he allowed that shit to happen in front of his face. And he went and entertained it by throwing it right back at them. Notice you will never have one white comedian with 3 other black comedians and a black comedian will kick some shit up talking about the Jews and allow that shit to just fly. They will pull the plug on that entire segment. But when it's us, they'll keep it going because, well, they need ratings. Oh, they need to laugh. They need to be entertained. We are always to them seen as the court jester or the infamous minstrel show. They enjoy shit like this because they, like I said, they know people like Chris Rock is not going to push back against them. They couldn't get away with that shit if I was on there. I would be the one to pull a plug on the entire thing and pull Chris Rock to the side and be like, what the fuck are you doing? What's wrong with you? If I had to be the person that probably worked behind the scenes that day or up in that goddamn sound mixing room or wherever, you know what? They would probably fire me. And you know what? I wouldn't give a damn because guess what? I would leave out of there with my dignity intact. Something Chris Rock clearly does not have based on that clip. And some black people out here don't have or lack dignity. They lack pride for self. All because they want to make others comfortable. So in order to do that, they have to be uncomfortable. And some of them are comfortable in their uncomfort. Apparently, Chris Rock fills that void. That's all I have to say about this. Y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you in the next one.